It is officially that time of the year when we're like,
how is it November already?
Where has time gone?
I totally feel the same, but I'm telling you, this time of the year is my favorite. The holidays is just really when I get the most joy. I love prepping for it. But the first thing that I want to tell you about would be all of the books that I would want to ideally read before the year ends. The list that I have, it is quite an ambitious goal, and I don't think that I'm going to be able to read all of them, but if I am ever torn on which book I'm going to be reading next, this is going to be the list that I will be referencing. I should have probably put the books in order, but I don't have any order to this. It's just gonna happen. There's really no rhyme or reason as to why these are the type of books that I want to read around this time. They just are. The first book is The Rebel Witch, which is part of the Crimson Moth series. I'm reading the first book right now. I think it's The Heartless Hunter by Kristen Ciccarelli. This book, the first book that I'm on, I think it's like a very easy read. It's about a witch and a witch hunter. The world that they live in have officially banned or purged out the witches in this town. The witch hunter is not fond of the suspected witches, and that's what the story is about. So I'm not sure exactly where the story is gonna go, but I'm still interested in it. Next is The Golden Sun by Pierce Brown from the Red Rising saga. I've read the first book, which is Red Rising. I really did enjoy that book. It is the first true science fiction book that I've read that I actually was able to follow and enjoy. It does take a little bit more brain power. The plot is so good. I haven't had the true mood to get into it. I'm hoping that in the colder weather I am able to get into that mood, but it hasn't quite hit yet, but I'm gonna keep it on my list. The next book that I have is Gothicana. I have no idea what this book is about. I've just been recommended this book by a friend, and she has been begging me to read it. If it is a dark romance book, I haven't been in the mood for that. I feel like I really exhausted all of my dark romance brain power and capacity to take in that kind of content, and it's just, I don't have it in me. But if I am gonna take it there, it would be this book. If you've read Gothicana, would you recommend it to me? If you know the kind of books that I like reading, I have it on this list just in case if the mood ever sparks. The next book is this book that has been popular for a long time on TikTok and on YouTube. So many different groups of people have been recommending this book, and it's One Dark Window by Rachel Gittig. The people that recommend these books are people that I trust, people who I believe I have similar tastes with, but this, I've just been hearing great things about it. I know that this is a duology, and I also have the second book on this list. I have a feeling I'm going to start One Dark Window after this because I do have another friend that's reading One Dark Window right now, and she won't talk about it until we obviously both read it and have finished the book. The next book is a book that Haley Pham highly rated, and it's The Ministry of Time by Kellyanne Bradley. I believe this book has magical realism elements, and I really do enjoy books that have magical realism elements. I loved One Italian Summer. I really enjoyed The 7-Year Slip. I also enjoyed The Midnight Library. I just think it's so fun and whimsical to have those kinds of elements. Like, it doesn't always have to have an explanation as to why things are happening. It feels really warm to read books with magical realism. It helps put things into perspective of certain situations that it's really hard to explain in real life. Anything that has to do with answering questions of regret, redoing anything, reliving something that you experienced in the past and how that could potentially change the trajectory of your life. Those types of plots and topics are interesting to me. And if Ministry of Time is not like that at all, then whatever. But I would still plan on reading it. I know that it's interesting because Haley Pham and I feel like we have pretty similar tastes in books. Ooh, next is Reckless by Lauren Roberts. I really enjoyed Powerless. Powerless is following the main character named Peyton, who doesn't have any powers at all. And in this kingdom in which she lives in, they believe that people who don't have powers are actually diseased, or they may harm those who are elites and mundanes who do possess powers. So she goes through her life pretending like she does have powers, and she meets the king and prince and enforcer characters along the way who actually fall for her guise as someone who does have a power. So I'm curious to see where Lauren Roberts takes it in the second book. I did read the novella. I think it's called Powerful. That one was also cute. I mean, you can only rate novellas as so high. It's like a 200-page book, but I still enjoyed it. The next book is called The Fury by Alex McLadies. Catriona Gray, the former Miss Universe of the Philippines, I think she recommended this book. It's about an ex-movie star and their friends. They went to this island in Greece and their trip was upended by a murder that took place. It's interesting because Catriona Gray recommended it. Am I following some of the recommendations blindly? Probably, but I know what I like based off of the synopsis of the book, and it sounded interesting to me. The next book is Assistant to the Villain by Anna Nicole Mehrer. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that name, but what I heard from Assistant to the Villain is exactly what it sounds. We're following the assistant to the villain, and I believe the protagonist or the main character in this book is someone that is considered a villain. But from how it has been described to me is that it's been an easy and fun read, and it's funny. I love fun and funny. I'm a simple girl. That's really all I need. I love a good banter, I love a good plot, and I love comedic relief. And lastly, this is such a random book that is on this list. It's People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. You're probably like, what? How did that get in there? I know. This is the only book that I haven't read of Emily Henry's, and it's about freaking time that I've read every single one of her books, and this is the year that's gonna happen. I know for sure out of all of the books on this list, this one I must read. I won't let myself get to 2025 without reading this book, because then at that point I would have read every single book, and it just makes sense to me that I'm that type of person who has read every single one of Emily Henry's books. I love her. I praise her. She's one of my favorite authors, and I believe she's coming out with a show or a movie. So I just gotta. Those are all of the books that I ideally would like to choose from before the year ends. Yeah. This is my favorite time of year and the favorite type of videos that I like to watch, so I hope that you enjoy it too.